Welcome to our online election board training for inspectors for the November 8th, 2022 general election. This training will allow you to understand your role as an inspector. If you've not reviewed the online training for clerks and judges, we ask that you first review that training before reviewing the inspector training. Inspectors are paid $9.60 per hour plus mileage reimbursement. The inspector will also receive $7 for a supply pickup stipend. The inspector serves as the supervisor of the precinct. You will find inspector duties on pages 9 to 15 of the election board manual. 1 to 2 weeks before the election, the inspector must contact the polling place to make arrangements that the facility is open at 7 a.m. on election day, and for any other arrangements you may need on election day. 2, remember to call your board workers to confirm that they are planning on working. If a board worker indicates they cannot work, please call Scott immediately. You will pick up your express vote when you pick up your supplies the day prior to the election. Check the voting area of your polling area so you have familiarity of how to set up the voting area. Make sure you have an extra table available for voters who would like to sit to vote. The day before the election, ballots and supply pickup. You will pick up your ballots and supplies, which will include your ballots, ballot supply box, ballot box, signage, and ballot return box. Please follow the election supply pickup map on page 11 of your manual. Before leaving the parking lot, please make sure you have all of your supplies. Check that you have the ballots for your precinct, and if you are in a precinct with more than one ballot style, that you have all of the proper styles. Double check that you have your list of registered voters for your precinct. This should be in the blue book in your ballot box. Make sure you ask for any additional signs that you may need. Please follow the election supply pickup map on page 11 of your manual. Inspectors will receive the express vote when picking up the supplies on the Monday prior to the election. Inspectors will also return the express vote to the election office with their other supplies after the polls close on election night. If you have an absent election board worker, please call Scott immediately in the election office. Make sure every election board worker has signed the oath on the front of the sign-in register. Make sure everyone has completed the payroll form. Make sure to set up the express vote. Make sure to set up the voting booths. Unpack your supply box. You'll have black pins that will be used to mark the ballot. Post all signs. Those are listed on page 13 of your manual. Post the sample ballots. Check your ballots for precinct name and for style number if you're in one of those precincts that have more than one ballot style. Publicly open the ballot box so all board members can see that the ballot box is empty, then lock the ballot box up. You will receive a list of voters who cast an early ballot after the list of registered voters was printed. Please print the word absentee in the column print voter's name so you know that this voter has requested an early vote ballot. Brief your workers. Review procedures and duties for each board workers. Initials. Make sure your election board workers understand to make the ballot official, it must contain 2 sets of initials at the bottom of the ballot. And remember, you're using red ink to initial the ballots. On page 15 of your manual, you will find a suggested polling place layout. In your ballot box, you will find your spoiled and rejected ballot envelopes. You will find your express vote testing materials. Please follow the instructions on the front of the sign-in register of what should be placed in the sign-in register at the end of the night. Electioneering. On page 7 of the manual outlines electioneering rules. Electioneering means the deliberate, visible display or audible or physical dissemination of information for the purpose of advocating for or against any candidate or measure on the ballot. Prohibited information includes a candidate's name, likeness, logo or symbol, or a measure's number, title, subject matter, logo, or symbol. This includes buttons, hats, pencils or pens, shirts, signs, sticker, or literature and drawings. No person shall do any electioneering or circulate petitions within 200 feet of any polling place or any building designated for voters to cast ballots. A person may display yard signs on private property within 200 feet of the polling place or building designated for voters to cast ballot if the property is not under common ownership with the property on which the polling place or building is located. Election Day observers. This is mentioned on page 8 of your manual. There may be observers at the polling place on Election Day. They may be from political parties, specific interest groups, and other organizations. Observers must present proper credentials to the inspector and poll workers and sign in on the poll watcher register found in the Blue Book. They will be identified with a name tag issued by the election office or by the specific organization. These representatives are there to observe only and are not to interfere with the voting process. Poll watchers shall not interfere with any voter casting or preparing to cast the ballot, not prevent any election worker from performing their duties, not provide assistance to a voter unless selected by the voter to provide assistance, not engage in electioneering while at the polling place, and must maintain a distance of 8 feet from the sign-in table, sign-in register, polling booths, ballot box, and any ballots that have not been cast. If the polling place is not large enough to maintain distance of 8 feet, then you must post a sign stating the minimum distance the observer must maintain. We will not have any early return of ballots. We will not have an afternoon return of ballots for this election. All ballots are to be returned after the close of the polls at 8 p.m. on Election Day. Returning your equipment and supplies information will be found on the manual on page 33. Bring inside the election office all ballots sealed in the ballot transport box, the Blue Book, the payroll form signed and removed from the Blue Book, padlock and keys, sign-in register envelope, express vote, poll worker evaluations. Bring to the warehouse, and remember to stay in your vehicle, the metal ballot box, and it should be empty, voting booths, precinct maps, supply box, unused ballots and unused ballot bag, and all other items. Please follow the map on page 34 of the manual when returning to the election office after the polls close. A week to 10 days prior to the election, you should receive your inspector packet from the office. In the packet, you'll receive a letter outlining specifics for this election. In the packet, you will have cards with your precinct name on them. You will place this in your window when you pick up your supplies on the day prior to the election. In your packet, you'll have a list of your election board workers. In your packet, you'll have information specific to your precinct. In your packet, you'll have information regarding the other inspectors if you are in a precinct with more than one precinct. If you are in a precinct with more than one ballot style, you will have that information in your packet as well. You will also have evaluation forms for your clerks and judges. Please complete and return to our office either in the sign-in register envelope or return to Scott personally. In your packet, you'll have a list of supplies that will be in your supply box. You will also have your name tag. Thank you. The training for inspectors is now complete.